Okay, thank you. And my name is Samuli Hänninen, and it's really a pleasure to be here. This, of course, is a very important place for Nokia. This is the home of our first ever business unit. We produced here many cables, then which the end started to connect the people. So it's a remarkable place. So, like said, that we will today go through area of imaging. What I do, I actually head our software development and also look after differentiation like imaging. We are based here in Finland, in Espoo and Tampere. We also have a site in Lund in Sweden and in Beijing and San Diego. So the headline is Beyond Imaging. Why we selected this headline is for two reasons. First, we want to talk a bit about our own journey, our approach and attitude, what has worked and what has not worked so well. So that's one part. Then secondly, we will talk where we want to take imaging. I personally think that imaging has not changed too much since 60s. I think it's time to change that. The way people still capture memories is a still image. We can do so much more. But before going there, let's start with our own journey. Let me introduce you to Sami Niemi. Sami is heading our Capture and Relive work from Lund, and he's also a founder of a company called Scalado, which we acquired a year ago. Please, Sami.
Thank you, Samuli. Here's some fruit to you.
Thanks.
So, thank you for being here. Samuli, can we have the slide, please? So,
we are missing the clicker, sorry guys.
So I joined Nokia for about a year ago, in summer of 2012, when Nokia acquired Scalado. For me, thank you. And for me, it's been an amazing time. It's pretty cool to be able to create software for the most advanced mobile phones in the world, not to talk about the most advanced camera phones of the future. For me, the journey started about 10 years ago, when I founded Scalado in Lund, Sweden. The journey pretty much covers the birth of mobile imaging, and I want to take you on a little journey through that by telling you 3 stories. As with many startups, life was very much up and down, a little bit sideways, great achievements followed by this constant fear of failure. In 2003, we pretty much ran out of money. We fired most of the R&D, and our last chance was really to convince Sony Ericsson that we could build a panorama functionality into their phones. The problem at that time was that we didn't realize that there was less power in that phone than in a remote controller. So it was pretty much impossible. But at the same time, it was our last chance. So we worked really, really hard and finally found a problem and solved it. So we created a technology that allowed us to keep everything in compressed form, and that way gained 20x performance gains. So now it was possible to put in really big sensors into the mobile phones. And as you know, the megapixels race really kick-started in 2004. So the first learning here is that everything is possible. It takes longer time and it's much harder, but it's possible. Never give up. So now we had something unique, but we only had one customer. So we took this chance and went to the Symbian conference in San Francisco, where we thought that we might find some new opportunities. And at that time, we were pretty shy and didn't really know how to mingle in the dining events and so forth. So we ended up chatting with the Swedish CEO of Symbian's subsidiary. And the cool thing was that there was a competitor that also ended up mingling with this guy. And in the end, we sat down by the same table and started talking. And this guy told us that they had a lead, Nokia, but they understood that they wouldn't have the technology. So we ended up partnering, and a couple of months, maybe 6 to 8 months later, we were the leading story on Nokia's N series. And that gave us the credibility to build the company further. So the second learning here is that you have to get out from the office and go all for it. Find the opportunities. So at this point, we had Nokia and Sony Ericsson, so we started to be a company. And at that point, around 2005, we got this fantastic opportunity to meet Samsung Mobile CEO, K.T. Lee. He was an amazing person. He had pretty much created Samsung Mobile from scratch. And he was also quite scary because he was an old military officer from Korea, and it really showed. So we got 15 minutes with him and all his R&D VPs. And he was not in a happy mood. So we started with this PowerPoint presentation. And he almost shouted, "Why do you want to show me PowerPoints? I want to see demos." So at that point, we of course had our demo. So there was a camera that was capturing downwards in our demos. And basically, we started with one demo with the purpose of showing how fast we could display images. So there was one demo with our software, one demo with Samsung software, and it took 2 seconds to decode the first image. And it took 10 seconds to decode the other image. So there was a silence of 8 seconds. Can you imagine the clock was ticking for 8 seconds? And at that time, she started to calm down a little bit. And then we pulled in a third device where we had made a bit more modifications, and it displayed 10 images per second. So at this time, he got really excited and asked, "Why do you want to work with Samsung?" And our answer must have impressed him, because all of a sudden, this guy jumped up, and he grabbed the banana from the table and split it in 2 halves, and there we were. He had one banana, and we had another banana, and we're just wondering, what did actually happen? He said, "I agree," and gave us his business card. Now all the doors were open to Samsung. In 6 following weeks, we pretty much sent the whole company to Korea to integrate into every single device platform that Samsung had, and made it possible for us to open up the market in Korea and rest of Asia. So the third learning here is that when you have these real opportunities, you just have to go with them and just run with the opportunities. They don't come often. And by the way, the banana story, it's something about Koreans having a tradition of splitting a peanut. So when you're friends and agree with someone, you kind of split the peanut and eat it. And Mr. Lee didn't have any peanuts, so he improvised a little bit. So, thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Sami. I think those stories are just fascinating. I think there is one element which is common in all your stories. It's about finding the opportunity and having the courage to seize that opportunity. And I think it's sometimes funny that how these opportunities come and go. Almost it feels like that it's meant to be. I remember it very well when we first time met. It was in Mobile World Congress 2012. And our business development guys had been telling me about the company called Scalado for a long time. I was really tired. I said that, okay, I must check this out because you always have to look at all the possibilities. Then I met Sami. Sami went through with his vision of where imaging could go. Then you showed me some pretty convincing demos. And we ended up the discussion that I asked Sami that, hey, I understood that you guys might be up for a sale. And of course, some hard work followed, but already 4 months afterwards, we were with our new Lund team and our team in Tampere and Espoo at my summer house and started to do the architecture and plans that how can we change imaging. So 9 months after, we released the 1020. So we felt pretty good on that as we got nice quotes of wowing the smartphone industry again. So to summarize, Sami was talking about 3 things. He was talking about persistence, going out of your comfort zone, and keeping focus to execute. I would like to add the 4th thing, which is what you need. You need courage. You need courage, you need belief into what you know is the right thing to do. And that's what we called the attitude and approach. So the remaining of the presentation, we will talk you a bit of what we have achieved with that attitude and approach. So let's start by looking at like what we announced a while ago in Abu Dhabi. So we announced our first quad-core device, Nokia 1520, with extremely good, stunning 6-inch display and 20 megapixel pure view camera. We announced Nokia 1320, which is a bit more affordable version. And we announced also the first truly mobile optimized tablet, 2520. But hey, let's take a look on what those devices actually do. We have prepared some demos here. Can we switch to laptop, please? Why don't you, Sami, start?
So this is the 1520. And the first thing you notice here is that when I click on the camera button here, the camera starts, meaning that Nokia has a hardware camera button. The other thing you notice that there's an optical image stabilization here. So when I half press this thing, all of a sudden everything starts standing still. So it shakes a lot, and now everything's stabilized. So there's real hardware for that. The second thing you notice is that there's very few controls on the display. So we have just a flash control, a couple of mode controls, and we have an arrow that allows you to reveal a bit more advanced controls for the advanced user. So I click here, and more controls appear, and now you can really perfect your picture. You can open it up like this and change, for example, the brightness of the picture to get it to the right atmosphere, so to speak. You can also change the focus of the picture. Here we go. It's unfocused, it's more and more focused, and so forth. We also have really advanced things like exposure control. So here you can actually look at the exposure here. You can expose up to 4 seconds and down to 1/16,000th of the second to really catch the raindrops falling, things like that. You also notice one thing, that when the exposure is wrong, here's 1/5 of a second. When it's wrong, when it's less than that, it becomes noisy and it indicates it with nice red color. So you kind of learn to become a better photographer when you use the camera. We even included a tutorial so you could learn that. For the real pros, we announced in Abu Dhabi that we will have DNG support for the 1020 and 1520. The last thing I want to show is that there's a smart camera integration here as well, which allows you to capture perfect action shots of somebody with skateboard and so forth. But I think that's something that Samuli will show in the Storyteller demo later on.
Okay, thank you, Sami. So we also announced an application called Nokia Storyteller, which you see there in the middle. This is my own phone and my own picture, so I have to be pretty careful there on that one. So let's start with these ones. So what you see happening here is that this is clustering all my images as stories based on the location and time, completely automatically. So actually we understand the intensity of those moments. So I have these ready-made stories. There are a couple of images. This is Sami having breakfast. And if I pinch out here, I see actually the location where the image was taken. I can also see the details of that location here, details of that location where it was taken. I can even call that place if I want to. So this is really adding the context for these images. And as you scroll, you see that how these different images are taken on different locations. I think this was a picture that Sami took that we really had the right attitude and an approach. Then, if we look at what else, so we were mentioning that Sami mentioned the smart shoot. So how do we really show the richness of each moment? So whatever kind of image you take, being it the motion blur, being it a smart shoot, we basically animate so that you really understand the scene there. Like if it's about, and of course, with all the images, you just pinch out and you see where the image was taken, you see those point of interest nearby. We also automatically, naturally play videos here. So videos start to play. You know, it's the transitions are really smooth. We feel really good about that. Then here is also something interesting happening on these pictures. It looks almost as if the focus would be changing. Should we try to do a small demo on that?
Yes. So So these pictures are taken with the Nokia Refocus that was announced 2 weeks ago in Abu Dhabi. And we actually capture the complete focus range of the picture, so you can afterwards change the focus, put everything in focus, and so forth. So let's see if we can get a nice picture of Samuli in the jungle here.
So you need animals in the jungle. So
That's right. Here we go. So I click on the button, and now it captures the whole focus range, creating a depth map so it understands how I can change the focus afterwards. So now I just click at Samuli, and he becomes focused, and I click on the flower, and the flower becomes focused. Let me show some other pictures that I've taken earlier. Here's an example from Abu Dhabi, and I can click on the guy here. He becomes focused. Now this thing becomes focused. You can even put the sand into focus so that the focus is only there. You can also put everything to focus, or you can focus on a specific color, like here. It's pretty cool. So what we also did was, of course, work really hard to get this thing working over social networks. It's fun to play with the focus yourself, but it's much more fun if you can share it with your friends. So here's actually the same picture posted to Facebook. So I can go here and try to find the mouse. Where is that? And click here, and the focus changes. Same here. So it's the same functionality over the web. I have also, there's a full screen link here you can click, and it's really impressive seeing it in all 5 megapixels. So that's Refocus.
So thanks, Sami. Now we can move back to slides from my computer. So can we have the slides, please? So, like said, Nokia Refocus is available today for download for all Nokia Lumia PureView devices. If you are not patient to wait for an hour or two, you can go and test it also there on our demo area. So that was the Refocus. We've been many times talking, like I started the presentation by saying that we want to take imaging beyond pixels. And one of the things we've been talking with Sami is that, and we have used the story of Columbus as an example here, that they say that when Columbus arrived to Americas, the Native Americans could not really see the boats in horizon. That sounds crazy. But if you think what happens is that your eyes, of course, receive the light, but it's your brains that understand the image. So if you don't understand a context of something, you don't see it. And that is exactly what we want to do. We want to bring you the context so that you can understand the moment, so that it's much more than a still image. Storyteller shows you the context and location. With Refocus, you can even go back to that moment, change it, play with it, or even let your friends play with it in Facebook. So that's what Beyond Pixels is all about. Then it's time to wrap up here. So success never comes alone, and we've been working hard to deliver the Nokia Imaging Sdk, which is also available today for download. The new SDK is packed with new features. We have effects, filters, enhancements from rather simple things like rotate and crop, to more enhanced features like auto-enhance, reframe, adjusting RGB level, hue, or saturation. There are a number of new filters as well. So one can change the filter parameters on the fly, which has actually been one of the main feedback from the developers during the beta phase. So now it's available. And also for those who want to hear more, we have a Nokia developer session also on the Slush Underground, where Sami and Sami will go more stuff through in detail. I think we might have some seats left there. So I think, hey, that's it, guys. So we want to thank you for listening and thank you for being here. in Slush and at the cable factory. And we believe that you can always win with the right approach and right attitude. Then only the sky is the limit. Thank you.
Thank you.